First, thank you for coming, and the reason we're in this room is because there's voting tomorrow. So the voting machines are already in that room and they cannot be disturbed for 24 hours or whatever it is before, so it gave another view in another room. So with that, let's go ahead and do the conclusion.
Point please, through the flag, of the United States of America. To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to go ahead and establish a quorum. Good morning, I'm here. Don Harmon, he is not here. Brooks Marsh.
Here.
Tiffany Becker, she is not here. Bill Hines.
Here.
Charles Swain.
Here.
Arnold Joseph.
Here.
Sherry Russell, she's not here. And Chris May.
Here.
We have established a quorum. Next up on the agenda is the Secretary's report. And what this is, it is the minutes from the prior month. And looking for approval.
I'll motion to approve. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carried. Next up is the Treasurer's report.
So thanks to all being patient for the last couple of months. As you know, we lost Mary in December. We brought on Constant Steele, who's been amazing. She came in and really did a forensics on all of our financials, but she's had to start from scratch and just kind of work her way through the systems and how things are done, et cetera. And she's done a great job. So it's taken a couple of months to do so. So I do want to shout out and kudos to her and the team for helping her along this learning curve. So I think we're in really good shape with her. She's very patient and a good add to our team. We've had a really good financial year, and I just kind of hit the highlights on that. Revenues for the year were over budget by $800,000, which is a significant amount of that is in these areas. Golf was $100,000. We had lot sales of $116,000. We had capital contributions of $154,000. We had interest collected and other fees that were paid about $270,000. So it was really a great year overall on the variances for the revenues there. Cost of goods, cost of sales on those, of course, going to be higher because those revenues are higher on golf. We had a negative variance of $44,000 or unfavorable variance of $44,000 for the whole year. Payroll as a whole, we had a positive variance in all departments, $85,000. So we budgeted 2.1 million, and we budgeted 2.2 million and came in at 2.1 million. The significant areas of note are the maintenance and grounds had a favorable variance of 38,000, and golf maintenance had a favorable variance of 72,000, pretty much due to shortages of staff during the year. We are fully staffed now. And then golf operations were over unfavorable variance of 24,000. That was primarily due to because of all the new tournaments we had and the additional income revenue and all the increase in the usage on the courses. So again, very good at the payroll controls, and the overall expenses, again, very good as the overall expenses were within budget. Actually, we're under a favorable variance of $53,000 for the year. And then our net income was a favorable variance of $900,000. What I do want to draw your attention to is capital. We have this sheet on the back. I'll just go through that. As you all know, we spent a lot of capital this year. A lot of it was budgeted throughout the history of different things, like the golf irrigation was budgeted so much per year. So these variances look off, but I'll try to explain why. The admin year to date, we had no budget for administrative, but we had a year to date expense of $267,000. That was for the building to be rebuilt at the POA office, of which a lot of that was offset by insurance, which is in our income side of things. So we have a variance there. Road maintenance, we had a positive or favorable variance of $206,000 budgeted. 613,000, we only spent 406, but that part of that was for the dam that's being reserved. So every year we probably had some of that in the past where we had the budget in there that we haven't spent. We will be spending those funds this year on the dam. So the rec center, we actually had no budget in that because we had that into the lot sales budget, if y'all remember that. And so the rec center turned out to be a total cost of $610,000. We came in right at budget. And the final approval that we made a couple of months ago for some other minor items. So all that was paid out of lot sales money. So that was great. And hopefully you all like the building. It's gorgeous. And then we didn't spend the money on the marina that we had as a contingency. Golf maintenance, we had the replacement of the irrigation, and it was $569,000. We budgeted $230,000, but that's because we had budgeted so much every year for a certain part amount of that. So we came in a little over budget to some of the replacement parts, I think that we have to do, if I remember correctly, but pretty much in line with budget. So that's really the major highlights of that. We're in a good position for the beginning of this fiscal year. All the information is being turned over to the auditors. They'll prepare the report. As y'all know, we do a report in September that you all will see. So it'll be available at that time. I do want to make one other comment. It's related to lot sales because we had really good lot sales and capital contributions, but in the May auction foreclosures, I guess I should say auctions or
Taxes.
county tax. We had 30 lots sell, and of some of those, and I won't say who, but they were of historical delinquent accounts that we haven't been able to collect on. So that is a really good thing for us going forward. That could be an additional $60,000 to $70,000 of revenue plus the initiation fees on some of those. So that's a real positive thing, for us, so, and hopefully that'll continue in that direction, so. That's it.
Yeah, thank you. All right, next up is President's report, and, first thing, this is the third time, the third month, I'm gonna talk about the call for candidates. So, we've got 9 board members, not 9 are here tonight, but we do have 9 board members, and every year, 3 of those board members are voted in for a new 3-year term. So there's constant turnover every year. So applications are due to the POA office at 4 o'clock on Friday, May 31st. There's 2 ways you can do it. You can either email Allison, and I can provide your email later if you need it, or take it off the Fairfield website and download an application, or you can just go in and ask for one. I will tell you, this is my 3rd month announcing this. We've had minimal response. So I would just, encourage you to think about it. While it is a time commitment, it is very rewarding if you stay off social media. There's a lot of positive things that are happening on this board. You meet a lot of great people. All the board members get involved in the committees. The committees are volunteers, they're neighbors. They're amazing. They're just doing a lot of great things. So while maybe certain ways you don't get rewarded, you really get rewarded in getting to know your neighbors and making, this community what it is. So if you are on the fence and you're not sure, I'll stay afterwards. If you want to, ask me any questions or just kind of, ask more questions about it, I'll stay after and help answer it. And then while I'm on the subject, I also want to thank the volunteer and committee members as we're kicking off a new year. I just want to thank everyone for their efforts and work. It does make a difference. I can tell you from being both on the board and committee members, your input and your projects and kind of your passion does get rolled in. It does get assimilated up to the finance committee, all the needs, things get prioritized. Things may not get funded this year that you want to do, but just know you're input is counted. I remember last year, I started playing pickleball. I'm not very good yet, but pickleball courts and getting resurfaced was being highlighted to me. Well, it wasn't in the budget, it wasn't highlighted. And, as I'm looking tonight, it is full. It's really big, but we patiently put it on the agenda for this year. So now we've got a new year, we're going to be resurfacing. So sometimes, when you're a committee member, you're passionate about something, it may not get done this year, but hopefully your voice will get heard and it will be done in the future. But, as a board and committee members, we try to really adhere to the budget, as things are budgeted and prioritized, we try to stick to it as kind of Charles just reported. And really, choose and, manage the money wisely. So you just have to be patient sometimes, like it is building the rec center now. So even rebuilding this rec center, it was years in the making, years in the savings. And we, set aside money from some of the lot sales because we didn't want to tax direct dues, but we thought this is kind of unplanned, unbudgeted money, these lot sales at the time. And it took us 4 to 5 years to save for it, and we stayed within budget, and I'm just so proud of what it looks like. And I really want to thank Tiffany Becker, who's not able to be here, and Charles, who really spent a lot of time from a board perspective on looking at the construction, helping with the redesign, and just being very passionate about this project all the way through. And then also I want to just thank Allison and her staff and all the extra effort it took to kind of come over and manage this. So she's going to talk a little bit more, but now officially we'll start to open it more up in June. And we'd like to maybe think about how do we then, maybe have a kickoff or an open house or something. It's still yet to be planned. So I just kind of wanted to kind of share those things. So
Thank you.
yeah, that's it for now. Let me get back on the agenda. The next up is operations report. I can use my microphone. It's a smaller room. Oh, yeah. Okay, good.
I think we're good. Yeah. So we're quickly approaching the summer season and looking forward to another successful operating season. The recreation center is reaching completion. We only have a few preseason items outside to finish. The rec will open for the official operating season this Saturday, the 25th. We'll start taking reservations for private rentals of this conference room as well as the other conference room starting June 1st. There is new pricing for the rentals that includes this room, along with the other room and the new kitchen. So if you're interested in reserving any of these for any of your events, just call the POA office with our rec coordinator, Brandy, for details on the different rental options that we have. Since we are about to kick off the full operating season, I want to remind everyone of some of the key amenity rules. Glass is not allowed at any of the facilities, and this does include glass goggles. We had an incident last year, actually at this pool, where someone had brought in glass goggles and nobody knew that they were glass until they broke. And then the pool had to be drained. It's a very costly expense. So no glass, including glass goggles at any of the facilities. A valid POA card with the user's name and photo ID must be presented to enter any amenity facility. Children 12 and under are not permitted to enter without adult supervision. Parents are not permitted to drop off their children 12 and under. Minors 13 to 15 are allowed without a guardian, but must have a youth amenities card that's purchased from the POA office, and they're not permitted to sign in guests. Minors 16 to 18 must have a POA card issued into their name and may only sign in up to 2 guests. Each property owner / household is only allowed up to 10 guests per day. 4 guests per household are allowed in at no charge. More than 4 up to 10 will be $2 per guest. Due to the crowds on holiday weekends, there's no free guests. Wristbands must be purchased for $5 each, which if you buy one here, you can go to the beach and so forth for the day. Residents must remain with their guests at all times while they are on property. Residents are not allowed to sign in guests and leave, as residents are held fully responsible for their guests' actions. Appropriate swimwear is required at all times, which modestly covers the individual. Street clothes, cutoff jeans, pants, thongs, see-through swimwear are prohibited. And of course, last but not least, no pets are allowed at any facility at any time. Lastly, just a reminder that the POA office will be closed on Monday, May 27th in observance of Memorial Day. POA staff and the board wish everyone a safe and happy holiday. But as you enjoy the Memorial Day weekend with family and friends, don't forget to take a moment to remember the reason why we celebrate the day. So,
Thanks a lot. All right, we've got actually a very light agenda. We don't have any old business or new business. And we have not had any lot sales this month. And committee reports we did last month. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and adjourn the meeting. So we're going to move to the next phase. Do I have a motion to? Oh, sure.
One, I want to recognize we have our fire rescue team back in the room. And one of the things is we're a month away from their golf tournament, which I'm gonna tell you is getting a lot of engagement both inside and outside the community. And there's a lot of things that they used to do that people don't realize. One incident of just a testimonial while I was over there last week, a gentleman wasn't feeling well and actually went up to the fire department and met chief. And at the time, I'm not sure the whole story, but I just said that he was feeling some chest pains and he was kind of unsure what he wanted to do. But as they decided, he actually was going away, chief didn't want to explain that to you, but they didn't put a monitor on him. And while they were waiting for that, he actually went into a cardiac arrest. And the chief and the team were able to save him and actually through the I just wanted you to understand and recognize what they do on a daily basis. And that the community and someone knew that they could go right to, that he drove to their, to Station 11. So I just want to say what we have in safety, things that they do on a day-to-day basis for us. So just want to appreciate that, and also whatever you can do to support them, the donations and so forth. But just wanted to do that info.
Anybody else before I, okay, so motion to adjourn.
Listen to them.
Second.
All right, let me go get the,
I've got it.
oh, you got it. Jerry Carmen.
Yes. As you said, social media is not the best place to work, but anyway, I own it specifically for our community. I established my own website for the community, and I'm going to be a member of Fairfield Community in order to join. Anyway, we have got, or had, and I think I mentioned about the UTVs that people had voted in. They're about in term to run. I know of two people, one of whose name was Casey Cook, I don't remember the other man's name. He says, if Spa writes him a ticket, he's going to sue the POA. Now, the only place I can find in the rules and regulation is under the golf section. But it doesn't say anything other than it cannot be registered as a golf cart. UTVs, ATVs, off-road.
Okay,
So,
I thought that's what you meant. I didn't clarify.
So what my problem is that I see it's gonna get us in trouble if we do something.
Well, there's been some, okay,
Go ahead.
there's been some rule changes on.
What we're looking at.
No.
I'm looking at.
I think what we're, it has been
The
brought up, but
state-
we made a
the state-
mistake, but what we are looking at is what are the state rules and regulations, because we like to start there,
Right.
because you're coming in on state, county roads, trying to.
Well, that's what these people are saying, how can they stop us when it's a license vehicles?
it's on our agenda next month.
Yeah.
It's being looked at
Okay.
closely.
Great.
And we are private, we do have our private roads, so the board can
That's
restrict
right.
whatever we choose to.
And then we still got tremendous speeding on Lakeview Parkway. It is, that's ridiculous. Somebody's gonna get killed if somebody don't start slowing these people down. And I know they're speeding, but I know how it is when they come by my house. Some of them footboard. One guy lost like looking in the curve in my house, so that he saw me down the yard, he was footboard. Put up on the food.
As the liaison to the community patrol, I can say that we've seen a decrease in super speeder fines in the last quarter. We hope that continues, but the ones that do, they are, for the most part, getting a severe fine, and we're sticking with it as a committee.
If I was on patrol, I could stop and make enough tickets. That we would ever have to pay another shit. I'm telling you, I know for a fact. I have even thought about going to having one of these radar guns to sit in my driveway and conduct everyone that comes by in the speed. Cause it is death till you get.
We're watching, and we asked that SPA watches it very closely as well, so it's on our radar for parking fund.
Good deal, appreciate it very much.
Thank you. All right, Bill, right?
Well, first following up on what Gary was talking about, we left today shortly before 3 o'clock at Carrollton. We were behind a car that observed the speed limits, but went straight through 2 stop signs. One of them right up out of the corner going to the POA office. Coming back, we followed a car that stopped at 2 stop signs, but was going over 40 miles an hour. So, I mean, it's just They do need to control more, they need to issue more, unfortunately, more tickets. A couple of things that I did want to mention before that is, I know that when Barry was on the board, constant cry was, we needed to get the POR done, so we get the initiation we passed, and those funds were dedicated, our point is at this level, those funds you thought.
Lot sales.
So what has happened to the
There you
initiation?
go, this initiation.
So-
So it's going to capital.
Capital.
It just goes into the it funds the capital projects so that funding doesn't have to come out of what we issue dues.
And then, the other thing, social media, there was a increase either yesterday or today, very unsavory about the condition of the island. And,
Yeah. Yes, we discussed that today, and so, from what we understand, Allison can kind of talk about more if we need to, but last week, Dean, who's our maintenance head, went out and was cutting down trees and pressure washing, so he went out to do some prep work. He's tasked right now to come back and do some more work. I guess you have to pressure wash before you replace the boards, and he also likes to do it closer to a big holiday to make sure it's clean. So it was on his checklist or to-do list. However, you know, some of those pictures, I think we do have questions. Some things looked a little rotted out, like the grill, to be honest. So, you know, something like that, I'm not sure, you know, it's on his radar, but we want to make sure that the island looks nice, just as we are keeping the other end up. So, in the future, I mean, it is a way to get our attention, but also a faster way is just to email the board, email Allison, and we try to get responses, and we're pretty reactive. But yeah, yes.
Yeah, and Dean, when he does the prep work for the opening seasons, like for the island, we discussed the island, I think they were out there 2 weeks ago, they cut a tree down, that if you were on the beach, you could see it leaning out, so they took care of that, they pressure washed. And then they were waiting to closer because they can pressure wash one day and overnight, if the geese get on that island, it looks like it hadn't been done in months. So just, you know, 5 or 6 geese, you would be amazed how much they put out. So, but he was planning on, he saved that to the week of, year after year, he does it the week of the holiday. So it's as clean as it can be before the weekend. So that was already on his radar. When he was out there 2 weeks ago, the hole was not in the dock. Because they did not see that when it was pressure washed. So he is working, that will be taken care of before Saturday.
And then the last thing, following up on what Arnold said, June 15th with the golf tournament, I've been working with Allison and the chief and the assistant chief and Arnold. We're gonna have a golf cart giveaway for hole-in-one. And, the golf, the shots on that hole-in-one target hole have to be witnessed. So I will ask for a couple of volunteers to help. Spend the time. Yeah, I think an hour each, come out and just watch and I'll do the first hour and the last hour, if we can get a couple more people.
I'll do the lunch hour.
Yeah, that was our hole in one. It's one where the tee to it goes. Yes. And I'll play golf. So.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be video.
Yeah, watch how we do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's real easy once you see it. Yeah. But we can do good that way.
Yeah.
I will contact a couple of them, see if I can help do that.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm golf, so I'd like to do some.
And thank you for pushing that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, same we do.
I was just gonna say, they were talking about Picnickton. I don't get out there very often, but there was one day that he was going back into our drive and he had pulled over to our neighbor's drive so he could back out, back into our drive. And there was a lady that come flying around that curve and I hollered, I said, slow down. She hit her brakes just past where he was fixing to back out. Slow down, got out. He said, did you need some help? I said, no, just slow down. I mean, it was like,
It won't work out too far.
They don't get here. I mean, that's just the way it happens, I mean, it's that quick. You know, if she hadn't slammed on the brake, she'd hit the wrong side. So the spot apparently is not the right spot, right time. Maybe they need to find some higher place, basically. Yeah, so.
Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
If anybody wants to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Just bring your coat next time.